So I recently finished this book called A Man Called Ove. And for those of us who might not know how to pronounce Swedish names, it looks like A Man Called Ove. I actually watched the movie too because it's such a compelling story. Even though the movie is in Swedish, it has English subtitles. And it's a powerful story about the power of a neighbor to reintegrate a particular place. Now you start the story with Ove, who's this cranky old man who recently lost his wife, who brought life and color into a life in which he was very rigid and stuck in his ways in certain ways. There was either right or wrong. There was a right car to drive, which clearly was only a sob for him. And then there was all these other ways, and he was bemoaning the fact that everybody's just unloyal and moving and changing jobs and changing spouses and changing car brands, and no one knew how to do anything anymore. And yet he grew up in this time where he could take his car apart and rebuild it, and he could build a house and all of these different kinds of things. And he ended up in a space where he really didn't feel like he had a reason for living anymore. And you get this picture too of a neighborhood that is disintegrated. Friends who used to kind of work together have now become somewhat of enemies, or at least nemesis there, and they argue and yell at each other across the road. And Ove goes around and he makes sure that all of the rules are followed, and he kind of sees himself as the policeman there, trying to maintain order and boundaries in some ways. And then Parveya, an Iranian immigrant, moves into the neighborhood with her husband, who turns out to be as mechanically incompetent as Ove suspects of all people, and the interesting ways in which they interact with one another, and the really fascinating thing about the way that Parveya refuses Ove to continue to lock himself away. And she continues to draw him out and forces him to look after and to help a neighbor and a stray cat and all of these other kinds of things. And slowly you can see Ove's coming back into purpose and essentially coming back to life in some ways. I don't want to give away the story too much, but I really encourage you to read it. It's a great story. But what it reminds me of is the power that we have as an individual neighbor to help reintegrate things and to help bring people together, to remind people that we are here to help one another and care for one another. And to do so in a way that is not forceful necessarily, but continually encouraging, to see past kind of that gruff exterior and that negativity that many of us present to others, or maybe that just polite declination or declining of certain kinds of things, and just continuing to form and fashion relationships. So I'd encourage you to read the book if you want, or maybe watch the movie, but most of all, I'd encourage you to think about the ways you can help those who are around you, particularly those who might feel like they're not valued or worth much anymore, and find ways to help reintegrate them back into a community that desperately needs every single person.